Well, my name is Kjellerup. I am head of IT in a board secretary in a municipality in Denmark called Ballerup Kommune or municipality. And I'm going to talk about a collaboration we have with other municipalities in Denmark, which is about how we govern and develop products for municipalities to use under open source licenses and agile methods. So, and this cooperation or unit that we have is called OS2, which has nothing to do with the IBM operating system, but is it's OS in second, which is an abbreviation of Offentligt samarbejde and open source. Offentligt samarbejde is public collaboration and open source. So, and as I said, I'm the executive secretary and head of the Department of Digitalization in the municipality of Ballerup, and I'm also a board member and one of the founding fathers of this OS2 network. So, what I'm going to talk about, well, of course, I'm going to talk about the OS2 network. I'm going to talk about why we did it, how we organize it, which products we have, and in the end, there will be some time for questions, I hope, if I'm going to keep my schedule. So, what is OS2? OS2 is a Danish public community which focuses on openness, collaboration, sharing, and digital development, and IP ownership. And the last part, the IP ownership part, is the most innovative in Danish context of public service and developing digital services for public service. So, the history, well, this community was founded in 2012 by 5 municipalities that was about to make their websites and thought about why are we all of us doing this all by ourselves instead of collaborating about creating a key network infrastructure, website infrastructure that we just could manipulate with the logos and the colors of the the individual municipality, and then we all together would have this website with all the necessary functionality for a Danish municipality. For the record, maybe I should just short state what a municipality's tasks are in Denmark. In Denmark, municipalities run the public schools, the primary health care for citizens, the primary elderly care. Yeah, I'm walking around a bit, so you're going to have to adjust the camera all the time. I have too much in the legs to just stand still. We govern local environment services and local business development services, local infrastructure, roads, local pre-hospital services, and what do we have more? We have, of course, the social services in general, unemployment service, and so on. So that's a very big portfolio there are in the Danish municipalities. And the public structure in Denmark is that we have of course, the state level. Then we have a regional level, which only governs hospitals, healthcare at hospitals and admission. And all the rest of the public services are within the municipalities. So, and in Denmark there are 98 municipalities altogether, and 64 of those are public partners. That's almost 2/3 of the Danish municipalities that are partners in OS2. And for those of you who know the Danish geography, many doesn't maybe, the capital of Denmark is Copenhagen, which is right here on the map, and there are a lot of municipalities that are area-wise very small, but have a great population around Copenhagen, and altogether this area here is about 1.5 million inhabitants. of which about 600,000 lives inside the municipality of Copenhagen. So, the development in members in our community has been, as you can see, from 10 in 2012 to 64 in 2018. I don't think we have gone up very much since then. So, but the network or the community consists both of municipalities, what is called the public partners, but also of vendor partners. And the vendor partners are a great many Danish companies, but there are also a few foreign companies, German companies, and a couple of Swedish companies. And to be active partner, you have to sign a code of conduct. How you're going to conduct yourself within this network, which is regarding the values that the network has about openness, public IP ownership, and so on, sharing, and so on. So no single vendor can monopolize a product within the network. And the vendors are the ones who actually create the products, and they, of course, deliver the necessary knowledge and implementation and support. And of course, they're also the active partners in our communication with the community about new technologies and possibilities. We also have some partners which are more like public infrastructure or regional or state level partners that we work together with. So there is the state, the Digitaliseringsfællesskab. Oh, this one hasn't I translated to English. I'm sorry. But the Union of Danish Municipalities are one of our partners. We have a company which is working for creating new digital services for public partners in Denmark. And then we have the Digitaliseringsstyrelsen, which is the government's digitalization unit, and some other units as well. We have a small secretariat which consists of 2 persons, which takes care of the communication and coordination of what we do and how we do it, and try to run the economy as well. So, what do we want to achieve? Well, the primary goals are within this openness agenda is to make coherent solutions for the municipalities, reuse of components and data better than we have been used to, better competition and more innovation among vendors so that we can have lower prices and better functionality. We want greater agility because the Danish government and the Union of Municipalities each year make a new agreement about what is going to be developed by the municipalities, both in terms of service but also in terms of digital solutions for the citizens. And that demands a greater ability to be agile within the municipalities to fulfill our parts of those agreements. We get paid from the state level to do these things. And we are just on the brink of a new deal for 2020. The deal is to be closed by the end of September this year. So, we need greater agility. We need to be able to give more value for the money, of course, and we want to make our solutions easy to implement for the municipalities. The municipalities in Denmark are very, very different. We have municipalities which have almost no execution level on the digital agenda, and then we have municipalities that are so mature and focused on the digital agenda that they develop solutions themselves. So there is a very broad spectrum of municipalities in Denmark. So, why OS2? Well, it was thought as a complement to the traditional solution in Denmark, which was we had great tenders of digital services that we needed to have done or developed, and then we had vendors that developed these services for the municipalities and kept selling the same service over and over again, and thus, because the market is only 98 customers, 98 municipalities, then we would have a monopoly within short time inside certain service sectors. So we would like to complement that by taking the rights to the IP within the products that was developed or financed by the municipality. So it's meant as a complement to the market, the traditional market that was already there. But it demanded that we needed to professionalize our organizations to be able to develop our skills to own and govern processes regarding development of software and development of solutions and implementing them. So, but it was not meant as a revolution, but more like an evolution, because we have, what shall we say, many municipalities with very traditional views on owning and governing software and digital solutions. So we needed to have them aboard the tour that we're making by taking more and more responsibility and more ownership to the processes that we have. So, professionalization, that's a difficult word to pronounce for a Danish person, at least for me, is a big issue in our way to communicate and handle the OS2 network and get more municipalities to become members. So, and one of our goals was to be part of the official Danish strategy for digitalization of the public sector. That's very, very difficult because in Denmark, as I stated earlier, we have a very great tradition, and we have several laws that states that the public must not compete with private sector and so on. So it was very difficult to find a space for public organizations to govern and own the rights to products. So, but back in 2017, the official joint strategy of public sector's digitalization in Denmark mentioned that joint digitalization tasks cannot alone be solved from central government bodies and big tenders. It must also happen through greater involvement of municipality partnerships such as the OS2 network. And that was a very big hit for us, to be part of the official Danish digitalization strategy. So, and what are we doing then? Well, we set out to innovate, create, and share ideas and products, and we situate ourselves in the gap between solutions created by or behalf of the central government and the suppliers and the municipalities. So we try to fill out this small gap and then widen the gap very slowly. And I think we are almost there, because our portfolio, I will return to that, is actually now beginning to have effect in the municipalities. And then to do this, we communicate to the municipalities why should they use OS2, and OS2 is to be used because we have short time from idea to product, the agile development methods and so on, short development process and low costs compared to the traditional acquiring model. We have a shorter return on investment and lower total cost of ownerships, because we are many that shares the development of products. And most of all, products grow from identified local needs. We are 98 municipalities, and though we are very different in both financial situation and number of inhabitants and so on, we have many of the same tasks overall. We have to deliver the same services to all the citizens. So when we identify the needs, then we can govern a development process on to secure the solution of those needs. It is ourselves that contribute actively to the development process. That doesn't mean that we have our own coders. That's very rare. We use our own coders. We mostly hire vendors to code for us, but it's our products, it's our documentation, and we handle and steer the process. And we have a documented project management model and a governance process. So if a municipality is about to consider whether they're going to join the OS2 network or not, we have these considerations that we tell them ahead of just diving in. Because for many municipalities, this of owning and governing own products and own digitalization products is a threshold that can be difficult to step over. So we say to them, use the products that make sense in your organization at the stage, the maturity stage that you are actually on. And at least once a year, examine whether there are products in the portfolio that you could expand into your own digital portfolio to enhance your digital services. And then consider whether you can help solving challenges by cooperating with other municipalities or participating in already existing products. So that way you slowly can build up your competences within these areas and be more mature and be more able to govern your own digital development process. So that's what we tell the municipalities that are reluctantly looking at us whether they should participate or not. We have a governance process where we divide our products into 3 levels, which is the smaller projects, which is like if you make a quick hack to make a certain business process connect with another and pass data on, automating things and so on. And we have several test projects that we also do just to examine whether they are usable, where it's a feasible idea or not. Then we have products for level 2, which are products that have greater impact in the organization or in the processes, or have a strategic linkage to either OS2 network as a whole or to the individual municipality. I will come into the individual steps in a little time. And then we have products that are specific strategic by nature and are widespread use by many municipalities. And the level is decided by the board in relevance to business needs and the strategic context for the network as well. So, and here are the levels. You can see level 1 is, of course, there is the idea, there is a local value and a value for others that are to be described. And then there are these criteria. The source code is to be shared on our GitHub. License criteria are to comply with the standard OS2 license, which is MPL2. They are applying or conjuring with the procurement rules, and the general legality of the solution is adhered. Security issues have been dealt with, and contracts for data processing are in place if they are needed. Of course, if the solution is so small, there is some of these that aren't relevant. They don't have to be met these criteria. But regarding the governance, the funding is raised within partners, but not necessarily within the OS2 network. The OS2 network doesn't have fundings themselves. Everything is funded by the partners, either the commercial partners or by the public partners. Well, what's the most important? Well, the number of municipalities have to be more than 1 and so on. I'm making it very difficult for you. So we have level 2, that's level 2, but a list of additional compliance points that has to be done. Product management has to be certified. There is communication material for the strategic level, so it can be sold to leaders within the municipality. There is a presentation material made within the product, and so on. There is only one source, one version of the code at every given moment. So there is code versioning, and it's possible to get it funded by the OS2 network. And the board of the OS2 network has to approve the project as an OS2 project. Otherwise, it has to be level 1. So, and level 3 is the most strategic or importance level that we have. It has to be a product on level 3 has to relate to the national digitalization strategies. There has to be a business process plan, and there has to be political communication. There is a steering committee appointed by the board of OS2 and so on. So there are different levels here. And that's, of course, that is our way to try to make this a professional organization working in a professional way with products. So we say OS2 delivers a solid foundation for digital development of products and products ownership by municipalities. I think we'll jump the next ones here. There are, for those who want to see the afterwards, we have a steering committee for each level 3 product. There will be a coordination group for the actual work within the products, and we have special committees that works with architectural principles, the standards that we want to use, the model contracts that we want to use, our project model, and operational requirements. So, and in the end, we have research groups within specific areas that works with trying to collect knowledge and bring people together to develop ideas and share and try to use our tools to share knowledge and share development ideas, so that we can have new products born within the network and generate knowledge that we can spread out through the partners. So, and we try to work with our very simple project model, which have several specific steps inside of it, but try to have new ideas and have generated so many new ideas as possible and have these maturing through our different governance bodies, and then prioritize and implement the new product in the end. So, and we have a couple of open source products in our portfolio today that are developed. I don't know if there is an interest. I can run through the individual products. I have a lot of slides, one for each of these products. I don't know if that's sought. Shall we do that? I can see we have the CPR broker. CPR is the Danish National Social Security Number. And this broker delivers information based on this CPR number that each person in Denmark has, and the broker delivers services throughout through standard interfaces and national standards, so that other products can subscribe for CPR numbers and updates when changes happen to citizens' CPR numbers, or changes happens to where they live, or whether they get children, or whether one thing or another connected to the individual citizens. We have a citizen PC because we as a municipality delivers free PCs to the citizens at the public libraries, our unemployment centers, and at the city hall. And we had a lot of issues regarding security on Windows PCs, so we developed a model based on Ubuntu that was that was that had a what is it called, management interface, web-based management, central management interface, so we could handle all of these. One of the issues we wanted to address was the security issues regarding foreigners putting USB keys into the PCs. So they were making key locking of what the citizens was doing on these PCs. So these computers has a warning system built into them if there is anything plugged or unplugged through the ports on the PC and so on. And with video surveillance, we can see who does it. So we have a fairly good security level on these PCs. So OS2 Dagsorden, which is a digital agenda product that supports meeting functions for our politicians and our administrative workers throughout the municipalities. We have OS2 Indberetning, which is a solution that, for instance, I use when I drive here. I just open the app and I say in my phone, and I say, now I'm starting driving, and then it registers my driving, and when I stop, I say stop, and then it automatically reports my driving for the work, and I get paid for whatever I drive. So, and it has, there are several very specific rules that are built into the system, and there is a web interface where you can type in your driving as well. And it uses OpenStreetMap and Open Routing and so on and so on. It's all based on open source components. Then we have Kitos, which is a record system for portfolio management, contract management, projects and interfaces. So we can handle all the products and interfaces and contracts within the portfolio of a municipality, which is approximately 400 different IT solutions in a municipality in Denmark, in an average municipality. So we have OS2 Loop, which is a web-based knowledge system and search tool. It helps. It's a what you call a combination of Google search and Facebook likes and Twitter messages. Which actually the function of the system is to help the users help each other instead of using a support system or a support function. So the municipality who thought up this idea had it's a big municipality with 350,000 inhabitants, and they had a support system for their home care workers for elderly. They had 50 persons sitting in a phone-based support that when the home care person had a problem, am I allowed to help this elderly with their digital identity log on or whatever it was? They would phone in and ask whether they were allowed to do that, and if the person was falling, how am I to lift this 110 kilo person the right way so I don't harm my own back and so on. And they developed this tool Loop, which is an help to self-help system, and it works on the smartphone. It's a web-based system. But they could cut the support function to 5 persons instead of 50 persons. So it was a very big success, and it's spreading all over the Danish municipalities right now. In Denmark, we have a taxonomy for all activities within the public sector, and it's called KLE. And this is a product that keeps together this taxonomy to help automate tools within other products, so they can ask which KLE is this and how am I going to handle it within the organization or within the process or within the product. We have OS2 opgavefordeler. It's called assignment. It manages and distributes how you can describe the responsibilities and tasks and information within a municipality, so we can automate processes. That information that comes in one place can be directed specifically to one specific worker who handles these kinds of cases. So this is the system where you administer who does what and how they do it and how do you get in contact with them, so we can automate processes. Valhalla, which is a web-based system for managing citizens participating in the election organization and how we have the elections run by people, by citizens sitting and helping other citizens getting their voting ballots and counting up the voting ballots and so on. That is a public, a mandatory task for citizens if they are appointed. So this is a product to find out who does what within the election process. Then we have the original OS2 product, a Drupal-based content management system for municipality websites. So it's a key, what's it called, key system that you just turn on. You put in your own logo for the municipality, your own colors, and if you have a special type, you put that in, and then you have all the functions that a municipality needs, and that's it. So, turnkey system, that's what it's called. The web scanner is a security scanner, so that if a municipality publicizes information on a website, whether it's OS2 web or another website, you can have this system scan the information throughout the whole website, and then it can have certain rules and certain things that it recognizes, CPR numbers, for instance, social information, account information, and so on, can warn about it, so you can get told if your website is leaking like GDPR, sensitive information, and so on. So, and of course, cooperation and sharing of knowledge is the focal point of all the projects and products. And we do that through open source. As I said earlier, we use the MPL2 license for all our products. And that's a lie, because we have just decided to also implement the what's it called, the more standard license, I don't remember the name right now, but another open source license. But we would like to have MPL2, and why we choose the MPL2 license is that we would like commercial companies to develop solutions on top of the OS2 solutions without them feeling that they get a viral license. So we would like to have the rights to our own products, but we would also like to have commercial partners to build solutions for the municipalities with these, with the OS2 products inside of the solution. So, and we use the Creative Commons license for all our documentation and so on. Yes, well, our focus for this year was, of course, the usual one. Develop new ideas, products and projects, and focus on business needs and agility as the driving force, and keep on the focus on implementing the governance model. It's very, very difficult with 64 individual municipalities that each have their own way of doing things. It's very, very difficult to have a common governance model, but we are trying to work on it still. And we keep a special focus on cooperation with vendors, because without the vendors we wouldn't have any products within the OS2 network. So, and then enhancing the network so that we can support the members of the OS2 network without, within, should it have said, within the very slim organization of 2 persons. So, yes. That's it.
Any questions?
I'm sorry I missed the very start, so maybe it's already been told, but I'm curious of your GitHub username.
My GitHub username?
Not your personal, but
no,
the
it's called the OS2 GitHub. OS2.
OS2 doesn't have any repositories.
Yeah, we have GitHub-OS2. Yeah, it's there.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you just got here, but earlier on this week, we had the SIA Open, the Statens IT, telling about an initiative around an open source complement to their SIA workstation. Have you talked to these guys about some of these products?
We have told them about the OS2 Borger PC, which is an actual product today. And I think that's what they're copying, but they're copying into their own context. So I hope they are, because there's no need to develop the same thing one time more.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure you knew.
That would be very Danish, though. Within each sector, we develop our own ideas, and we cannot use anybody else. It's not invented here. Yeah.
So I was wondering about the relationship with vendors, because most of the software is built by external vendors who then contribute open source code, or?
They can only be part of the network and have orders from the network, OS2 network, if they deliver in MPL2 license with the IP rights of OS2 network, not the vendor's IP rights. So the copyright is written to OS2.
But you also, so you have a copyright assignment clause.
Yes,
with other vendors.
a license and a copyright assignment clause, and the owner of the copyright is OS2, and the license clause is MPL2.
Okay, but you also said you chose MPL2 because vendors should be able to make proprietary
Yeah,
solutions
because
with it.
the MPL2 license allows vendors to build solutions around the product. The scope of the MPL2 license is the file scope. So they can build, outside the file scope, they can build services. For instance, we have a vendor that makes fax services. And to hold the numbers of the individuals within their fax service, they use the CPR broker. So they're using the CPR broker as a service to deliver names and numbers to their fax service. But now this vendor's fax service is actually built on open source, so it's open source as well. Yeah. But that could be a commercial closed source fax service product.
Okay.
So.
And so how do you...
But the CPR broker part is still open source, and they have to of course, to reference to the source code and to the ownership and so on.
Do they contribute back? Like, do you have a process?
Yeah, we have vendors contributing back, but the MPL2 license.
But you're not forcing them to it; they're doing it anyway, or?
Yeah, they have to. If they're building services within the file scope of the MPL2 license, they have to deliver back.
Yeah, if they release it.
Okay. But you can be a commercial vendor that's not part of the OS2 network. You will still be able to use the solutions.
Okay.
But they have to reference back to the OS2 network, and that the solution is open source and available to download from here and so on.
Okay. And so another sort of related question is, how common is it to have a clause in public tenders that say that the solutions that companies build must be released as open source, like in general? In
general, very uncommon in Denmark. So but that's what we're fighting for.
Okay, so this
but
is sort of
not just that it's open source, but also that the intellectual rights, the IP rights, is owned by the public sector, not by the vendor. It's not enough just to have an open source license. It's the owner of the IP rights that has the right to set the license model. So if we had developed software that was freed as open source, then the vendor, we have seen this in Denmark 5 or 6 years ago, then the vendor suddenly gets bought by another vendor, and he says, okay, it's right, that version was open source, but we are now developing the new version. It's actually the same code with a little bit changed. It could be the text files, and then they say it's released on a closed source license. So the owner of the IP rights has the right to set the license. That's why we are focusing very much on the IP rights more than on the license.
And are you allowed, does this run afoul of any of the EU rules for legal tenders, anything? Like you can set these kinds of...
No. We have been discussing that in Denmark. We had a liberal government up until this summer, and they were very focused on the public sector stealing jobs away or stealing tasks away from the private sector. But we argued back that actually we are leveling the playing field because we are not fencing in the products, so everybody has a possibility of participating. And we had a lot of the vendors participating in this public discussion whether it was allowed for the public sector to govern and own products instead of traditional tenders.
I totally agree. I'm very pleasantly surprised that something like this exists, because I always wondered why there wasn't.
Yeah,
Like this
me
seems
too.
like an obvious thing that the public should be doing, right?
Me too, back in 2012.
Yeah.
That's why we created this network. That was actually to govern and own the rights to the products, not just the license, but the rights.
And like, as a percentage, how much software do you cover under this compared to which is not?
You could see the list up there. It's not much,
but
that
was all of them. That list was all of them.
That list is all of them. But there are very, very many infrastructure products that are very essential to us, and that's why we want to own them ourselves.
Sure.
And many of these products are also products that what I call is modules with which you build by meta programming, build digital workflows. So it's not actually a product built for a specific workflow, but a module like a Lego module that you can build digital services on top of. So that you can make citizen services within these 4 or 5 or 6 modules. You can build a complete citizen service with the workflow inside the organization as well. So instead of having a product for a specific work process, we have these modules that we can build many different work processes from.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to achieve, modularization.
Do you know what is going on across Europe of the same kind of stuff that you guys are doing? Is there anything, or?
We are in communication with both a German community and a Swedish community about this, and I've been in England telling about how we work on this. But the great difference from Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, we have a very, very similar public sector. When we go to other countries, the public sector becomes very different. If we go to Germany or to England, the public sector is very, very different. In England, the public sector is almost the state and nothing more. The municipalities have very few tasks, so it's very difficult to port the way of working to public sectors outside the Nordic countries. But we are trying now to be more aware in our product development on the internationalization of our products. We haven't had that as a focus area up until this year, but we are talking about now that we'll have to be language independent and structure independent in the products. But they are very focused on Danish public sector. There is a Swedish network called Vestsvensk Digitaliseringsfællesskab, West Swedish Digitalization Network, and they are now trying some of our products, trying them out to see if they can use them. But it's mostly from us to them at the present moment, because they are just at where we were in 2013, I would say. Just trying to find together in a community that can govern these developments and products. But we have been talking with the osor.eu, if you know that one, the public open source website for open source with Guy Kjellerup. And we're trying to put our things into there and have it internationalized and put into their repository. But of course, our great problem is that we don't get any efficiency out of that. That's just an extra task that we have to govern without getting anything from it. So it's like, it's the last thing you do if you don't have anything else to do, and that's not very often. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Sorry.
Could you repeat the name of the Swedish one you had?
Vestsvensk Digitaliseringsnetværket. That's a community of Swedish communes along the west coast of Sweden, southern of Gothenburg. I think it's Erling Åsås som er ledamot der. Okay?
Thank you. Give a round of applause to Jens.
Thank you.